Mind your pride, Sir Duncan.
This quiet warning, delivered by Lord Plummer beside a tranquil river, is the ultimate clinical study in the tragedy of Westeros. In a realm where honor sounds beautiful until poverty enters the room, the most dangerous battles are rarely fought with swords. They are fought with soft voices, polite smiles, and perfectly calibrated temptations. This scene is a profound exploration of morality versus desperation, asking the cruelest question of all. Can a good man maintain his integrity when survival itself is prohibitively expensive? We are witnessing the moment a storybook knight's principles collide with the crushing pragmatism of the feudal elite, revealing that the real test of a hero is not, can you win? But, what are you willing to become to do it? But before we break down this, we need some context. At this precise moment in the narrative, Sir Duncan the Tall is a nobody. He has no castle, no family name, and no gold. He possesses only a borrowed set of armor, a warhorse, and a dead knight's dream resting heavily upon his massive shoulders. He is attempting to survive in a world where a single injury or broken lance could destroy him entirely. It is exactly this economic fragility that draws Lord Plummer to him. Plummer approaches the young Hedge Knight away from the pageantry of the tournament grounds, seeking a private space where systemic corruption can be comfortably marketed as understanding. Dunk enters this conversation with the naive assumption of a fair competition, entirely unaware that the ruling class is about to test the true price of his self-respect.
Duncan! A word, if you please.
Is there an issue with my entry?
Plummer's polite, almost awkward opening immediately introduces tension, because in the vertical hierarchy of Westeros, a high-ranking lord never pulls a landless knight aside privately for good news. Dunk's immediate concern with his entry reflects his deep-seated insecurity and constant expectation of being rejected by the official world of the tournament. This exposes Dunk's literalism. He focuses on the mechanical rules of the event, completely blind to the political subtext of a private audience with the tournament's organizer. Plummer is operating as a predatory herald, inviting the hero away from the safety of the public eye to negotiate the true hidden rules of the feudal game. Dunk is desperately seeking viability within the established order, entirely unaware that his very lack of status is what makes him a target. Plummer uses the guise of a leisurely activity to create a carnivalesque suspension of rank, temporarily masking the predatory nature of his visit. This frank and free speech is a manipulative tool designed to make Dunk feel like a respected peer, thereby softening the blow of the corruption to come. By drawing Dunk toward a fishing spot, Plummer physically and psychologically moves the hero into a threshold of isolation where morals can be quietly compromised. The calculated hesitation, is a performative act, pretending to be a man guided by casual personal interest rather than cold financial necessity. It is the first small compromise of the interaction, forcing a knight to lower his guard for the sake of an aristocrat's polite smile.
Sir Duncan, I believe we are both men of honor. So I hope you understand that what I ask serves no private interest.
Plummer explicitly invokes the shared knightly ideal of honor to manipulate Dunk, weaponizing the young man's own moral code against him. He reframes his impending request as a noble duty to the community, the whole swarm, claiming the act serves a greater public good rather than personal greed. This is a clinical application of the power lens, where the definition of honor is twisted by the elite to serve the utility of the ruling class. Plummer is demanding that Dunk subjugate his personal moral compass to the crushing necessity of maintaining the local lord's financial stability. By claiming no private interest, Plummer attempts to completely divorce the corrupt mechanics of his proposal from any sense of moral failing.
I just surprise you to learn that my Lord Ashford has richly overspent on his daughter's pageant.
I might not.
Plummer introduces the ledger of flesh in purely financial terms, identifying a schism in the body, social caused by aristocratic excess and conspicuous consumption. He uses a fundamental truth that Lord Ashford is in debt to anchor his lie, proving that the most dangerous manipulation is built upon a foundation of facts. Dunk's bluntness reflects his class consciousness. As a child of Flea Bottom, he is intimately familiar with the absurd wastefulness of the sovereign class. Dunk's response shows the first cracks in his idealized view of the nobility, acknowledging the hypocrisy of lords who bankrupt themselves for pageantry. His brevity signals a grim psychological resignation, recognizing that the bellatories are often driven by vanity rather than true chivalric virtue.
Well, with winter not so long past and many of our flocks collapsed, hard times lay ahead, unless we endeavour to reverse our fortunes.
Plummer uses the harsh reality of winter and collapsed flocks to justify moral compromise as a practical, unavoidable necessity for survival. He is weaponizing the suffering of the small folk, using the threat of hard times to shame Dunk into participating in a veiled attack on his own honor. This frames systemic corruption as a righteous loophole, a way to satisfy the brutal law of survival while ignoring the ideal of a fair contest. Plummer is appealing to the providential inequality of the world, suggesting that fortunes must be artificially reversed to protect the ruling class from ruin. He is asking Dunk to act for the interest of the whole swarm, prioritizing the local economy over individual integrity.
I don't have any money.
Shocking, that may be. I mean not to rob you, but to reward you.
Reward me?
Aye.
Dunk's immediate assumption that he is being robbed reveals his profound innocence. Grand systemic corruption does not naturally occur to a storybook knight. This stutter exposes his Adlerian inferiority complex, as he remains hyper-fixated on his material poverty and his beggar's blood origins. Plummer uses the peculiar logic of the turnabout, expertly reframing a request for dishonor as an offer of a reward. This is how integrity disappears in Westeros. Corruption never markets itself as evil, but rather as opportunity, sympathy, and convenience. The promise of a reward is a temptation toward passive martyrdom, asking Dunk to quietly surrender his honor in exchange for alleviating his desperate economic fragility.
What do you know of Lord Ashford's youngest, Sir Andrew?
He's a deaf lance.
Indeed, indeed. But we're a challenger to come forth, and unhorsed Sir Andrew against all odds. The lucky few who backed such an unlikely winner would find their pockets full.
Plummer finally reveals the mechanics of the staged defeat, transforming the sacred martial theater of the tourney into a rigged gambling enterprise. Dunk's honest assessment of Andrew as a deft lance shows his continued commitment to the literal truth and his respect for genuine martial skill. Plummer exploits the inequality of constitution, using Dunk's status as an unknown, impoverished hedge knight to create the illusion of an unlikely winner. This proposal completely deconstructs the chivalric mythos, proving that the elite view martial prowess not as a divine ordeal, but as a commodity to be bought and sold. Plummer is asking Dunk to become a conscious vehicle for fraud, leveraging his massive physical frame to manipulate the pecuniary standing of the lords.
Now rest assured, I mean no disrespect. I ask only what you already intend. Drive your foe from his saddle and take your place on Champion's Row.
Plummer preemptively soothes Dunk's pride, using the language of respect to disguise the ultimate disrespect of asking a knight to fix a match. He attempts to align his corrupt goal with Dunk's authentic ambition, what you already intend, making the sin feel identical to the heroic victory. This is the insidious nature of the compromise. Plummer is telling Dunk he can achieve his storybook dream of champion's row, provided he abandons the rules of the story. It reveals how the nobility weaponizes narrative, offering the Hedge Knight the appearance of glory without the substance of merit. Plummer is testing whether Dunk values the visual signifiers of success more than the internal reality of his knightly vows.
I do not want a victory that I have not earned.
This simple, direct line defines Dunk's entire character, stripping away Plummer's flowery rhetoric to state an uncompromising, universal moral principle. It represents a total rejection of the power lens, proving that for Dunk, the method of victory is more important than the utility of the prize. Dunk demonstrates true psychological fortitude here. Integrity is easy when one is safe and rich, but Dunk is hungry and still refuses to yield. This is the exact moment the storybook knight solidifies his identity. He will not accept a fictitious feeling of strength or unearned superiority. Dunk recognizes that the moment he wins dishonestly, the chivalric fiction he has built his life upon will instantly shatter.
Have you not earned it? Let Sir Andrew take the fall, and you shall have his horse, arms, and armour as recompense for your role. A tidy sum for a young Hedge Knight who presently calls an elder tree home.
Plummer delivers a dangerous counterattack, reframing the corruption as fairness by appealing to Dunk's undeniable suffering and hard work. He asks, "Have you not earned it?" Because he knows Dunk has struggled far more than the privileged, high-born knights who sleep in silk pavilions. By itemizing the recompense and horse arms armor, Plummer targets the exact pecuniary signifiers Dunk desperately needs to survive the coming winter. This offer isn't just about greed. Plummer is weaponizing Dunk's desperation, offering him the security, status, and survival he currently lacks. Pointing out Dunk's alder tree home is a calculated act of grotesque degradation, forcing the knight to confront his own physical destitution.
It's a no.
Well, I beg you think on it. I shall seek your answer on the morrow. Perhaps the rains will hold till then. Mind your pride, Sir Duncan.
Dunk's correction of the tree species is heartbreaking. He is so impoverished that he has developed a deep emotional attachment to his only reliable shelter. Instead of self-pity, he corrects the Lord with quiet dignity, demonstrating the vast difference between highborn arrogance and a Hedge Knight's true pride. Plummer's final warning, "Mind your pride," is a brutal truth wrapped in a polite farewell, signifying that honor will not feed a starving man. It is the ultimate tragic thesis of Westeros. Principles and self-respect are luxuries that do not buy armor or provide warmth when the winter rains come. Plummer leaves the trap open, forcing Dunk to sit with the crushing realization that he must choose between his physical survival and his moral soul. This interaction beside the river is not about jousting. It is about the fundamental value of a man's soul. Lord Plummer represents the quiet, reasonable death of integrity, offering a deal where survival and comfort are traded for self-respect. Westeros constantly asks if a good man can survive in a broken world, and the system consistently attempts to test the hero not with dragons or war, but with one small, logical compromise. The true tragedy of the Seven Kingdoms is that Plummer is not entirely wrong. Pride does not stop the winter rain. Yet, what makes Sir Duncan the Tall so compelling is that in a world built entirely on manipulation and the ledger of flesh, he still endeavors to remain decent. And in the shadows of the elite,